So we've got some new players to the channel here, some excellent comments, some excellent feedback, and this truly is an amazing time to be a Battletech player. We've got fantastic starter sets. The wave of new plastics are coming. 3D printing, 3D support, just fantastic explosion, bringing in so many new players. The question I was asked, beyond the rules, as we learn the rules and work our way through them, Fritz, what's like that first piece of starting Tactica? We're going to make our way through all of the channels here on YouTube and check out the tactics and on the Battletech forum. But that one piece, that one part, Tactica, because we want to get on the tabletop. We want to start moving around on the hex maps, rolling dice, stomping stuff, punching stuff, shooting stuff, blowing stuff up. I'm going to offer my suggestion, and it was a little challenging to narrow it down, and then I'm going to turn it over to you guys, my secret weapons in the comments. If you were a new Battletech player, knowing what you know now, the veterans, the mech commanders, the star commanders, what would you suggest? So for me, if we're looking at a lance, I played a game the other day, and I've been taking the models from the Game of Armored Combat starter set and the intro box, because I want that Griffin, and using that to build my lances, and using that to explore some starting Battletech tactics, and really try to approach the game from that fresh perspective. Yes, I love tanks. Yes, I love infantry. Yes, I love playing on big tables. But the intimate experience of the hex map and the starter mechs, pushing that and getting the most out of it. My selection for the lance was Catapult. Fantastic mech. Pushed that up to the archives on my channel. Certainly worth checking out. The Griffin, the Wolverine, another favorite mech of mine, and the Commando. The Commando. I think the Commando fits better with that type of lance. I had also looked at swapping the T-Bolt out for the Catapult, but in that lance build, I think the Catapult has a slight advantage. So those are the mechs. You put down those mechs on the table, what piece of advice would I give? The piece of advice that I would give is Battletech is a game of modifiers. It's not a game of hard mathematics in that the modifiers don't change and you're calculating them. They're ever changing. And the wild card is the fact that your opponent, you never really know what they're going to do. I mean, you might know their player personality. You know, if I get close enough, I'm probably going to try and punch you with my mech. But that aside, you never really know tactically what your opponent's going to do. And even if you do know tactically, crazy stuff can happen in Battletech. I mean, I can execute a perfect plan and you know exactly what I'm going to do. You get a lucky headshot on my mech, it goes down. Well, now I got to retool. Now I got to pause and figure out what's going to go on. So in this constant shifting of the game, it's a constant push on the modifiers. When I am shooting at you, I'm trying to bring those modifiers down, and I bring them down by being at closer range, by not moving or walking as opposed to running, by trying to have terrain or other influencing pieces prevent you from running maximum speed, get you to move the hexes by making a lot of turns as opposed to a straight line, your full move value, trying to keep you out of cover. So I'm trying to lower that scale to hit. You're trying to raise it by making sure you're moving, by making sure you've got cover, by making sure you have optimal range for your weapons, but not optimal range for mine. And eventually we come up with a number. And we roll the dice and we see what happens. And you can always get lucky in Battletech. You could always roll boxcars. You could always roll that natural 12 and be ready to go. But with that, keeping your mechs together, this idea of a threat bubble. So if I put down these 4 mechs and I put them in 3 or 4 hexes, let's strip away considerations of terrain and elevation for a minute, because it does change it a little bit. If I put down these 4 mechs, I want them to be close enough and facing enough and in tandem enough that all of their weapons overlap. So I've got the long-range missiles on the Catapult. They're potentially hitting one target. But at the same time, if I project out the hexes, the range, the threat of the Griffin, the PPC, and the long-range missiles also are in range. The autocannon and the Wolverine, I project that threat bubble out. It's literally an arc, a surrounding arc. That has range. So there's this idea of redundancy. being able to shoot at a target with multiple weapon systems across multiple mechs. Because the more I shoot, the more I concentrate my fire, the greater the chance that I will break through the dice modifiers that you throw up. Because again, you're trying to raise those modifiers. If I need 10s to hit you and all I have is an autocannon 5, because my Griffin is on one side spread out, my catapult is on the other side spread out, and it's just the Wolverine in range, and I need 10s to hit, yeah, I could get lucky. And even if I do hit, there's the damage on the autocannon. But if I'm close together, and I determine, hey, I'm going to shoot at your mech. I'm going to shoot at your Wolverine because you brought that to the party. I want to make sure I can do, here's 2 long-range missiles. Then I'm going to do the PPC. Then I'm going to do the LRMs. Then I'm going to do the autocannon. And really try to break through any modifiers that you throw up. But also if I can bring those modifiers down and hit you on like 6s and have multiple weapon systems. So that for me is number one in Battletech. Working as a lance, working as a group, not running off doing your own thing, not breaking off some mech to chase down another. You need to operate close as a team. And whatever the weapon range brackets are for your mechs, they need to overlap. On a finishing note, so let's say we're advancing and now we're closing the distance. We're like 6 hexes, 5 hexes away. At that point, this threat bubble begins to collapse. So maybe with the catapult, okay, I could switch to the lasers, but maybe I want to start pulling back a little bit so I can hit you with the long-range missiles at short range as opposed to being at under the minimum range and having those modifiers. So it's this constant shuffling of moving back and forth, but I don't want to break off. I would say keep your mechs tight. Keep your mechs close. Overlap, lanes of fire, focus fire, shoot at one target until it's destroyed, damaged, forced to retreat, or messed up in some way that it buys you a couple of turns to focus on another target. That would be independent of lance, mission, hex map, independent of anything. That's what we're looking to achieve in my mind as a new player. So I'm going to turn it over to you guys in the comments. You're a mech commander. It's that first mission for a new mech warrior. They did okay. They piloted the Chameleon pretty well. They're pretty solid. They're going out to the field. What advice would you give them? What orders would you issue for that first game?